Okay, here we are on Nature Magazine. I want to show you a couple of things on here that are really important to know. Injectable brain implant spies on individual neurons. They could say observes individual neurons, but she has to say spies on. Kind of creepy. Anyway, here it is. It's a polymer mesh, and they roll it up and they inject it into the brain. They drill a hole in the brain, just like right here, bugging the brain. They drill a hole in the mouse's brain, inject it in with this thing right here. It wraps around the brain, and then they can read it, and they place these electrical points on the mesh, and then a Wi-Fi reader will read the brain later. So terrible. So it's not part of the Brain Initiative that the U.S. has all the money for, but it'll probably end up being part of that. So these things are coming. But this is worse, okay? CRISPR, the disruptor. This is really, really kind of the worst thing I've read. It's been around since about 2012, and people who were doing gene modification, they came across this from E. coli, I think, and a way to edit genes, a quicker, cheaper, faster way that it does it itself. So that's why they have this little dynamite or firecracker right here, because it's potentially really dangerous. And let me see, it's causing an upheaval in science. And you can listen to something right here about it. You can also go on YouTube, and there are lots of YouTube videos about CRISPR. I think they're for other scientists, but you can probably grasp what is going on there. And they basically, they can genetically modify things now so quickly and so cheaply that, and the way that it happens is it's undetectable. You can't tell that an animal, a plant, or a human has been gene edited. And this was DARPA's goal, to edit the genes of soldiers so that, for example, they don't need to sleep. Because now I think they take a lot of drugs, right? So that they can stay awake. And so now CRISPR is making it possible to edit genes in many more organisms. So this one woman here, she is keeping a list of CRISPR-altered creatures. So far, she has 3 dozen entries, including disease-causing parasites. Okay, they can enhance some organisms to do a worse job than to be even more killer of viruses. So it has a lot of drawbacks. People don't realize that this is so powerful. It's unregulated because it's happened so fast. It just spread like wildfire throughout the medical scientific community. And okay, here you can edit out disease. But once you edit something out, as I understand it after reading this, it can also, scientists don't really know what else it's doing and what ramifications it will be doing later. So, for example, they could edit out some gene in a mosquito, for example, and so that they completely die out. But what will this do to the ecosystem? Okay, so you have to read this for yourself, because it's really, really, they're starting to do things like create petite pigs, cows without horns, so they can edit out the horn growing gene. And this is how much money they're spending on this now. Okay, if you're going to replace somebody's sickle cell gene in a stem cell, you're going to be asked, well, what other damage might you have done at other sites in the genome? See, they don't know these things, and there's no regulation because the governments can't keep up with it. Okay, CRISPR on the farm. Here's another, dynamite. This is dynamite. And students are using it. It can do ability to precisely edit existing DNA sequences, make for far more accurate modifications, but it also makes it more difficult for regulators and farmers to identify a modified organism once it has been released. With gene editing, so this is not gene modifying, this is gene editing, there's no longer the ability to really track engineered products. Okay, that rings alarm bells for opponents of genetically modified crops. All right, engineered ecosystems. Beyond the farm, okay, a mutation engineered into a mosquito could spread through a large population within a season if the mutation reduced the number of offspring a mosquito produced. Then the population could be wiped out along with any malaria parasites it is carrying. So this can happen faster than normal. And here's how it's explained. Okay, standard inheritance with a modified gene. And look, so there's 50% chance of an offspring getting it, so only these few have it. But with gene editing, this is what happens. Look, more of the mosquitoes have it than not. Nearly 100% of offspring inherit the modified gene. It sweeps rapidly through the population. Okay, now there's something down here that I wanted to show you that, okay, I remember this paragraph here. Okay, the issue is not black and white. Mickey Eubanks, an insect ecologist at Texas A&M University in College Station, says that the idea of gene drives, that's what it's called when it rapidly goes through the offspring. Gene drives shocked him at first. My initial gut reaction was, oh my God, this is terrible. It's so scary, he says. But now, okay, really pay attention to what he says here. But when you give it more thought and weigh it against the environmental changes that we have already made and continue to make, it would be a drop in the ocean. Do you realize what he just said? What is he talking about? What environmental changes that we have already made or they have already made? Do we know about those? I think he's talking about genetically modified plants and Monsanto and, just everything. And he says this would be a drop in the ocean. So I really think there's going to be a tipping point one of these days. And I think there is something in the sky that is on automatic pilot right now. And there was another thing here. Oh, yeah. This woman here, or this person here, there's a paragraph up here where they talk about students gave a report and they did something where they created they took a virus and gene edited it, and they let mice breathe it in, and it could create lung cancer in humans. And so these were just students, and the professor went, oh my God, if just students are doing this, because it only costs like $30, you need cheap equipment and everything to do this, and gene drive, this is it, gene drive, and it could completely get out of control. So, okay, this comes out in the news now, right? So we know they are doing it. Just like with nanotechnology, with Cynthia biotechnology, all these things are going to mix together and something's bound to go wrong. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't know where that was, where I read it, but it's creepy. Okay, so I want to show you my video that I took this morning of the sky, and that is, and I've been taking a lot. They look the same. The sunset looks the same as the sunrise. Okay, 5:50. It's June 9th, 2015, and it is about 5:40 in the morning, just after sunrise. Here's the same black cloud that's here every day. These are not rain clouds. These are just some kind of self-propagating clouds. And this is where the sun should be coming up. This is in the east, and this is in the west. More clouds towering up. Like that. So the sky is changing really fast. It came out a few minutes ago and it didn't have so many dark clouds. See how these clouds connect with these tentacle-like things? Well, I've been reading the journal Nature, and you can't believe what they're doing, what scientists are doing, what they are involved with. It would just blow your mind. They have developed an injectable electronics into the brain. It's a net, and the neurons like it. And it plants itself over the brain. And it can be read by Wi-Fi. So somebody has time, I may make a video later, but for now it's Nature Magazine, Injectable Electronics. The other thing is about DNA editing with CRISPR, C-R-I-S-P-A. And CRISPR is a super fast, super easy way to genetically alter, change the genes of any organism, and it's hard to tell if that organism has been changed. And there's something connected to it called gene drive. So normally when a gene is altered, it would go through the normal inherited way, where there's 50% chance that the offspring will inherit that gene. But it replicates in some ways so that most of the offspring inherit the new gene. And it's not regulated like nanotechnology, not regulated, just out of control. And even students are playing with this, and some students developed a
virus that the mice would breathe it in and could develop human lung cancer, like the same thing. And this one researcher said, oh my gosh, students have control, are using this technology. This is like totally out of control if they're using it. But they're altering viruses, they're altering mosquitoes, they're altering everything. And another researcher said that when they first heard about this, CRISPA, CRISPA, a way of altering genes, they just thought this is the scariest thing. But then when they later thought about it, they said compared to all the altering that's been done in the environment and that will continue to be done, this CRISPR way of altering genes is just a drop in the bucket. So to us, we don't know what they're doing. And scientists make mistakes. When they make comparisons to gene therapy in the 90s, and some scientists, they thought they knew what they were doing, and they accidentally killed a young man. So this could be the same. And it's progressing so fast that the governments who do regulating can't keep up with it. They can't devise the regulations fast enough to keep up with the science because it's moving so rapidly. So just think, scientists get a hold of a new technique, and then that spreads throughout the scientific community, and then laboratories all over the world are jumping on board and playing with it, and the government doesn't even know anything about it. Look at those rows of clouds, they look like manufactured. So much for the sunrise. Same black cloud every dang day. Birds are chirping away. Anyway, so that is the way it is. And they're mixing, DNA alterations with synthetic biology. And when they alter genes this way, because that has something to do with E. coli. Oh, and they can create viruses that can just wipe out a species so fast. And they play with viruses to learn about these gene therapy techniques or genetic editing techniques. That's what it is. Genetic editing. Put that together with the injectable electronics, then any day now it's time to leave Earth. And, when Dad sees what's going on here and he's ready, he's going to be so mad. I'm talking about Alpha and Omega. It says in the Bible, he's coming back to destroy those who destroy the earth. Yes, says that. You can use some few words and look that up. This sky doesn't, both the sunset and the sunrise have the same yucky pink-gray combination and white, and that fluorescent white. It's really flat. It's flat and opaque, and the beauty has been taken out of it. Have a beautiful day, everyone. God bless. Look, there's the same, these are the same clouds every day. It's like a repeat of yesterday. Are these feathery things that hang off these clouds. So newer people on Earth are going to think that this is what clouds are supposed to be like a crab in the sky. Okay, bye for now.